Is this thing working? Are we live? It looks like we're live. What's happening, everybody? We are working on the R1 right now. We've got a tail tidy in the mix. We've got, what else we got going on? Well, about to have to do a chain adjustment. We're finishing up, actually, I should say, the tail tidy. So that's clicking along. So what's happening? Anyway, that's what we got going on. I am stoked to bring you the Yamaha R1. So here's the thing. First of all, if you're new to the channel, I'm Cyclemoto here. I have been doing this YouTube thing for a hot minute, made the switch over to motorcycles a while back, but I've been in and around this stuff for most of my entire life with a couple of breaks. But my channel, basically, it's a background noise generator. Not much better than that. But I'm typically talking about motorcycle stuff. Sometimes we dabble into other things. The live show is my opportunity to interact directly with you, let you guys see some stuff that's going on behind the scenes, some how-to videos, stuff like that. But it's also a place for me to work through different topics that didn't quite make it to prime time, if you know what I mean. So in this case, I'm really not doing a how-to video for this tail tidy. There's really not a lot to it on the R9. But with that being said, that's what I'm up to. So what I'm going to do, because this is live, I'll let you guys hang out for just a second. I'm going to get some stuff moved around because it looks like we're kind of dark. So hang on, let me do this. Move this light thing around. Maybe that'll help. That just makes it look creepy. That makes it look really creepy. Oh, well, that's a little bit less creepy. Anyway, so it gives me an opportunity to hang out with you guys. And today I'm working on the R1. Stoked to be able to bring this bike to you. A little bit of a reveal video that will be coming soon. I've got a ride-along reveal and then a bit of a chat reveal coming. So be on the lookout. This bike's going to be hitting the scene here real soon. But checking in with you guys. Golden Gate is in. I like that. Miss my town. Happy Saturday, brother. Happy Saturday to you. Nick is in. What's up, brother? Bruce is in. What up? What up, Bruce? Nick's in saying 3 more mods and my 990 RCR is done. I'm loving it. I tell you what, I am intrigued by the 990 RCR since I have had my experience with the R9. The RCR 990 is kind of intriguing to me because it's the only parallel twin in the group. And I find that to be a little bit curious because, you know, as weird as it may sound, I'd have never seen a parallel twin ever really getting into that class. But it shouldn't surprise me. I mean, look how well that the Twins Cup is doing. That's a pretty popular deal. By the way, whoever over at Yamaha who seems to love thread locker for the passenger pegs, thank you. Just about snapped my wrist trying to get that stuff off of there. But as we are getting this bike ready, getting this tail tidy all buttoned up, I'm stoked to be able to bring this bike to you guys. This is a bike that I've wanted for a long time. And it all kind of goes back to, it's almost a year ago when I did the ride and review of this bike. And I'll put it to you like this. Oh shit, for you guys that are kind of floating around, hang on. There she is. 2026 Yamaha R1, still very stock. Gigantic carbon fiber wings on this thing. At first I was kind of about it, but now I can't imagine the bike without it. But yep, we've got an R1 in the shop. Now, that being said, we had to let a couple of bikes go. There may be a third on its way out too. But that is kind of how these things go. There may be another bike coming into the channel though, something way different. And something that I didn't realize that I liked until I rode it today and fell the freak in love with it, like in a really bad way. So be on the lookout for that. It's a couple of months out, and I'm not going to give it away, but it's something that you guys have never seen on the channel before. It's a bike that just hit the dealership like 3 or 4 days ago. I was able to ride it today, and I couldn't stop laughing the entire time I was riding this bike. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to give anything up on it. Nick's going, R1? Yeah. Nick's asking, what'd you sacrifice for the R1? Okay, so let's talk about that. 2 bikes, the GSX-R 600 and the Yamaha R9 had to go. Now, keep this in mind. As I go through bikes, some will stick around for longer than others, but typically if you see a bike on the channel, its days are numbered no matter what. For a number of reasons. It doesn't matter how much I love a bike. So the GSX-R 600, absolutely loved it. And you'll hear me say this in an upcoming video. But once a bike has pretty much fulfilled its contract, it's got to be rehomed. And that's kind of how I see it. And that allows me to keep bringing bikes in and out, something different, something new, something cool. And sometimes bikes are going to be self-serving. The GSX-R 600 was very self-serving. And it allowed me to have another fling with an old flame, right? But as things go, we had to go our separate ways again. But the memories are still there, and I'm very fond of that bike. Now, here's the thing. The R9. You're going to hear me use a word that may not come across all that well. It's not a negative thing, although it has a lot of negative connotations. But you're going to hear me talk about the R9 from a place of disappointment. And it's not that I'm disappointed in the bike. The R9 is really good. Matter of fact, the R9 is very similar to the R1 with how it puts down power in certain circumstances. And you'll hear me talking about that in an upcoming ride-along video where I'm breaking in the tires of this thing. Yes, we did get slide control to activate a little bit. As we were breaking in the RS11s, freaking fell in love with the R1 all over again. So when, so the R9, and I stand by everything positive that I've ever said about that bike. You hear me say that in this upcoming video. But the thing is I can't have a bike on the payroll. And as good as the R9 was going to do and has done on the payroll, thank you all very much for that. There's one fatal flaw to the R9, and it's an unfortunate thing. And this is something that was driving me absolutely bananas. Couldn't think straight about this ever since I did the video of the 750 versus the R9. And those are always going to be short-lived videos, guys. There are certain videos that I can't let sit out there forever. So if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, just understand that things went horribly for the R9 in that comparison. Now, that being said, the R9 is superior in other areas. But the problem is that, again, it had kind of fulfilled its contract because there was nothing else that I was going to do to the R9. I had planned, in fact, it was budgeted for the R9 to get cams. It was going to get the V2 Dan Crowder cams. The problem with that is that the only thing that those camshafts would have done was to help the R9 breathe a little bit better in a very specific spot. It's the spot that it needed to breathe better, from about 8,500 RPM to about 11,000 RPM, but it was always going to fall off. It was never really going to make the kind of power that that bike needs to make. The chassis can handle significantly more power than that CP3 is putting down. To get that bike really where I wanted it was going to involve, this is the sad part, it would have involved a budget that I just couldn't justify putting into that bike. It would literally be me just somehow or another becoming allergic to money and just start blowing it all on the R9. Because instead of cams at this point, it was going to have to be, and I mean have to be, the ported cylinder head and the smaller head gasket plus the cams to get that bike where it needed to be. And unfortunately, the numbers on that package with install is about $6,000. $6,000 that you would have to put into the R9 to actually get the CP3 to act like a sport bike engine and not be a, and don't take this the wrong way, it's actually a compliment, but don't be a extremely good city bike masquerading as a sport bike. Moonlighting is really a better way to put it, because the R9 has got the best suspension. It's got the same suspension as this thing. In fact, I'll do you one better. It arguably has a better rear shock than the R1. So it's got a chassis that's crazy capable, but it's got an engine that was never really allowed to be its best version of itself. And because the number is just way too sky high, look at it like this. If you're to take a new, I didn't buy it new, but if you're to take a new R9, $12,500 out the door for 14,000 flat, maybe. Okay, let's just say you get it out the door for 14 flat. For 14, then you got to add another roughly $6,000 in parts and labor and tuning. Actually, $7,000, $7, $8, $9. That's an R1. So for the amount of money that you would end up putting into your R9 to really get it where it needed to be, you could have had an R1. So that's the spooky part. So anyway, frustration, but it is what it is. And I'm finally back with a bike that I truly did fall in love with, and that you guys have heard me talk about, just bemoaning the fact that I didn't buy the one that was at the dealership then. But the funny thing is that my good friends over at Wild West Motorsports in Katy, Texas, hooked me up with this R1. They gave me a smoking deal, kind of a brother-in-law deal on the R1. This isn't like an extra allocation. So check this out. This bike just kind of showed up. They were out of allocations of R1s. And as it turns out, Orange Crush called me up and he's like, bro, you're never going to believe this, but Wild West has got an R1. And I went, you're kidding, right? And I said, no. And I said, like, for sale? Like, it doesn't have a deposit on it? He goes, no deposit. So I said, okay. Hung up the phone with him. Beep, boop, baba, beep, bob, beep. Got on the phone, and sure enough, they had this one still in the crate. So I just said, okay, cool, I'm on the way. And so I was on the way, and I went and picked it up. So worked out a deal this past week, and then, you know, just kind of made it happen. But that's the reason why. I mean, this is a bike that I really wanted, and it's a bike that I can say is mine. You know, it's not just for the channel. There are bikes that are coming for the channel, but just as something different, you know, something cool, the bike that is going to be coming is a bike that, again, you've never seen me or ever even heard me talk about. I would never in a million years have even considered this bike. And then I rode it, and I was doing things on this bike that I really am not supposed to be doing, and I just loved it. So anyway, there you have it. But let me check in with you guys. Oh man, I need to catch up. I am screwing up over here. Sorry about that. Oh, Nick, new bike, MT-07. It's an R1. I had a feeling the R1 was coming. Cody, yeah, for sure. If you ride it, you will love it. Yes, Nick's checking in. R1, oh yeah. Oh yeah, the Sacrifice. So yeah, those are the two bikes. Um, and I'll be honest with you guys, the 750 may also be checking out too. Not because I don't love it, not because it's not my favorite bike. It is, and I do. But again, this is a business, and as good, and there is not a better 750. I've never ridden a better GSXR 750. If I can keep it, I will, but the way things work out sometimes it's probably going to be best if I let that one go too. Um, Nick saying you rode an H2R. No, there is an H2 at Wild West. Nick saying Aprilia. No, Sacrificial Lambs in. Got the ball guy with the flex and the specs. Pyro saying, oh, Nick's R1's a monster. I tell you what, the R1 is little. The R1 feels like a GSXR 750. I'm not kidding when I tell you that. It feels like a GSXR 750 in size, riding position, and front end feel. I can tell you objectively that compared to the Gixxer, the R1 is not as grunty stock for stock. The Gixxer is just a bit more powerful right out of the box, but we're talking about leader bike versus leader bike, and they're close enough on paper anyway. It's just how the Gixxer with the adjustable intake cam has got a little bit better partial throttle acceleration. But this bike also has adjustable trumpets, right? The velocity stack. So it's good. It's as good, right? It's just a little bit different, but it's as good. Skywalker is saying the R1 is why I got into motorcycles. My dad bought a 2016 brand new. Before then, I never cared for bikes. Something about the way it looked and sounded, and it lit a fire in me. R1 is the best bike. Here's the funny thing, and Nick's saying facts. Here's the funny thing. Everybody that I've ever, many people, not everybody, that I've talked to that have had a CP4 R1 at some point either still own or owned in the past a Gixxer 750. Whatever it is about Gixxer 750 and R1, it's kind of a weird thing. They're like two peas in a pod, and I get it because this R1 is so eerily close in terms of feel and stability to the Gixxer that it's almost scary. The Gixxer is a little bit more stable at high speeds and corners. Maybe, I don't know. I might be reading a little bit too much into a certain feel that I got out of this bike today. I did get slide control to activate. I hit our favorite S-turn in third gear, and I went bananas with this bike. By the way, this thing does the prettiest side of the tire wheelies. When you watch my video, there's a ride video, I think, coming up tomorrow morning. Watch that. It's funny. Even if you just watch like the first, like the intro, like, hey, what's happening? Right? When you watch as I'm leaving the marina, there's a little rise and then it drops as I'm taking that left-hander to go under the bridge, or as I'm to head out to go under the bridge. Just watch that and watch how I'm coming up on that rise, and that you'll hear me roll into the throttle and it's comes up and then sits back down. This thing is a lot of fun to ride. Nick saying facts. Skid saying, hey, B, got the ball guy with a flex. I like it. Matt saying, Iron Pony got 5 R1s last Monday. I was thinking of you, but missed Tuesday. Looks like I was listening to what you were thinking, my friend. Oh, Nick's talking about the R1. Oh, yeah. Squid saying, bought the R1, saying, Stubbs going to be jealous. No, not at all. No, in fact, I was hanging out with Hunter today. That's when I wrote, trust me, Stubbs ain't going to be jealous. There's, like I say, the bike that will be making it to the channel when the 750 goes is coming from Stubbs. It hit the used inventory and I went, what the hell is that? Rode it and just got stupid infatuated with it. Skid saying, by the time you do all the upgrades, you had a Aprilia RSV4 money? It's already at RSV4 money. A regular RSV4 is going to check in somewhere around 19 to 20,000, and this one's stickered at 19.1, I think. So it's right there with it. I'm more comfortable on the R1 than I am on the Aprilia. In fact, it was kind of a bit of it wasn't a 1v1 or anything like that, but I just, the way that the R1 feels to sit on, the way that everything kind of comes together ergonomically, the R1 is a better fit for me than the Aprilia is. But they're not that far off. And here's the other thing, a titanium, because you don't have to put a full exhaust on this thing. It's got a titanium header already. What you do is you do a 3/4 system with the R1. You do your M4 titanium mid pipe, which is like $500, and you just plug that into the stock silencer, do a tune, do your vanity stuff like your tail tidy, your mirror block offs, if that's what you're into, whatever other vanity things you want to do, and you're out the door. You're out the door for about a third of the cost of what it takes to do the other stuff. Plus, the tail tidy on this thing, the tail just basically, it's a self-disassembling bike. And you can tell that they put this bike together for guys to take to a track. Like, you're going to disassemble the bike, take off your street bits, your stock street bits, right? You take that off for the track and then put it right back together again. It's really nice to work on, just like the R9 was. That one was also really nice to work on. This kid's saying, congrats. Congrats. Oh, Bruce is saying his local's got 3 R1s. Man, we cannot keep them. We can't keep them anywhere in sight down here. Squid's asking, which bikes did you sacrifice for the R1? It went like this. It went GSXR 600 was rehomed. Yamaha R9 is out. And there will be another bike, it looks like, hitting the channel in maybe a couple of months. And the 750 is gonna get rehomed to make room for that. Matt, yeah, Matt. Sapphira has been rehomed. Pilo's saying, when I saw the R1, I thought it was a middleweight before I saw the stickers. It's tiny. I love the R1 because it feels little bitty. Pilo's saying, damn, I had a feeling, I guess waiting for cams was just not enough to keep that excitement. Here's the thing. I wanted to do the cams. I really did. It's just that when you start to apply mathematically just the finances of what it would take to honestly make the R9 competitive, it was disappointing. And again, this is a word that you'll hear me use. It's because the bar was kind of set high, but it wasn't set too high. It was an attainable goal. And in looking at the R9, I thought, okay, well, cams will certainly help this bike. But then when you start to look at how cams do help that bike and then compare that to a ported cylinder head, I mean, damn, you'd almost get as much or more power out of the R9 if you just put the ported cylinder head on the thing. Now, everything is coming apart and you're going to put cams in it anyway, but you're looking at, as near as it doesn't make a difference, around $6,000 in cylinder head gasket, labor, cams, everything, right? Downtime. There's a lot that goes into the R9 that you just hit a bit of a brick wall. You end up with, again, you know, if you're out the door for an R9 for $14,000 and then you add the $6,000 that you're going to need to get the R9 realistically where you want it to be, which is heads, cam, the whole bit, that's not even talking about a full exhaust, right? That's not talking about your DNA stage 2. just take 6 grand at face value because your cylinder head's 2 grand. Your cams are $1,500 with a shim kit. Labor is going to run you a couple of grand. It all starts adding up. And again, by the time it's all said and done, you've got $20,000 into a middleweight, which is $1,000 more than the R1. Now, I will say this, and I'll never say anything negative about the R9 because that bike really is that good. In fact, I'm a little bit jealous of R9 owners because I'm still running the Gen 1 TFT screen and electronic suite on the R1. The R9 has a better electronic suite by a mile. So there's that. But honestly, Pilot, it was a financial thing, man. Pilot saying Sapphire is Sapphire gone. Nick saying it's a BMW. No, it's definitely not that. I looked into the BMW, but just too expensive by the time it was all said and done. Mickey's in. We got our first member. What's up, man? Yo, it's kicking. So we do have memberships if you guys are interested. The reason why, that's another thing. I want to talk to you guys about this. Why am I doing memberships? Let me tell you why I'm doing memberships. There are some videos that are going to start sliding into the membership side that are going to be, they're videos that if I put them monetized into YouTube, believe it or not, it would actually hurt the algorithm. It's going to be stuff that only members and only guys that have been around the channel for a long time would be interested in. And viewer count is a big thing in all of this. And so if I put out a video that I say only, it's kind of weird to think of like 150 views, right? That's like 150 people in a room watching me, right? That's crazy. But it's true. You know, a video that gets a low view count actually can drag the channel down. So what I'm doing is opening up a spot where I can put some of that out there for you guys. And if you're interested and if you want to support the channel, it's a cheap way to do it. I think it's like $4 a month. But what it does is it just gives me a spot to put different videos. Members get to see certain videos that others don't, uncut versions of videos, and get early access to certain videos. And it's an opportunity for a member who's actually invested in the channel to say, hey, that video sucked. And, somebody that's real familiar with the show to get their feedback on it. And it also, it helps me because I want to make sure you're getting your money's worth. I'm just, putting out more content in that respect. So, Mickey, thank you very much for your support, brother. I do appreciate it. But that's the why behind it. I know I hate it too. He's getting memberships because he's wanting to make it's a money. It's really not. It's just trying to make the channel fit a mold, if you will. And as a content creator, and you're doing this kind of as a thing that you do with your life, this is just some of the stuff that you got to do once you kind of get to a certain level. So, hang on, let me check in with you. Was talking about the R9. Yep, R9 upgrades. It's a BMW. It is. It really is. Paulo saying, checking in with Mickey, just did quite a bit of riding with the new windscreen. Nice. Mickey's saying, really, my Puig double bubble, been trying to fit my helmet lately, but maybe normal at 186. Nice. Mickey's saying, that's awesome. Gonna have to put an affiliate link. I tell you what, some of you guys have picked up on some of the products that I've linked in on the channel. Man, I kind of got away with that with some tires, like sneaking in a little bit extra discount that way. So if you need tires and you check out one of the videos that links to line parts, just order a lot of the ride along videos have a link for the Bridgestone S22s on line parts. That's the tire that I run. Grab that link off of there. I make a little bit of money and line part ships like that day. I've had tires show up within 3 days. So, and they're pretty inexpensive. Skywalker saying, I've had an RSV4 double R bike, was brutally fast, but it was not an R1 in my opinion. The RSV4 is very uncomfortable and kind of confusing with the electronics. It was definitely Italian. Well, a good friend, you know, GV's got one and loves it. And I love the sound of that thing. It's a beautiful bike. It's, is it a Sachsenring bike or a factory bike? I think it's a Sachsenring. Anyway, real pretty bike. Sounds amazing. Bike hauls ass. Here's the thing. I really didn't want a leader bike. This is, okay, let me also explain something else too. I've had the Gixxer 1000, fastest motorcycle you can buy with the lowest amount of horsepower, it seems like, on a dyno, but nobody can catch it, right? I've had that. I've seen Jerry's bike run. My red GSXR 1000 was legit fast. I don't necessarily need that, although it's nice. The R1, once it's done, I guess technically is going to put down a number that's going to be familiar to that Gixxer 1000, kind of like in that same wheelhouse, but it's really not about power. It's more about the noise that this thing makes. I really don't care about how much power it's making. Matter of fact, I need to see, was I running in A mode today? Anyway, I was, but for me, it's more about the feel and more about the bike. So that's the main thing. Skids just came in. What's up, man? Welcome to crew. We got a new crew member. Y'all, Skids just checked in. Very nice. I like it. Got the blue star. So that's the, oh, and that's the name. It's just one level. It's the crew level. And, but yeah, that's going to be, so Skids, this is how it's going to be kind of cool. Like, okay, here's another one. Standalone videos. These are ones that the bloopers for that won't ever get out to general population. That's what'll happen is a lot of times when you see me in here and I'm okay, whenever I do those standalone videos, there might be 25 takes. Like I can be halfway through it and I'll get a bug fly up my nose, or I'll be halfway through it and like you get some spit in your throat or whatever. It's just basically me failing at whatever it is that I'm doing. And a lot of it's, look, those I can't, it's, and I'll cut those up and just do like one at a time. The video might only be 30 seconds, but it'll be me screwing up and then haha, you know, but it's kind of funny, but it'll be that, it'll be some other things where you'll have, you know, again, the main one is access to uncut videos, because I don't typically do any editing, but some of the videos lately have had to be edited and it's just cutting videos. It's just cutting those up, but those will be in there. Behind the scenes stuff will be in there. And there's some other stuff that I'm looking to do in the future for members that are going to make it a little bit different. So stay tuned. Let's see. But thank you very much, Skids. That's awesome. Appreciate it, brother. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Bruce saying, oh, went to the Yamaha demo truck, rode the R9, MT-09, and MT-10. As of right now, the 675 SS and R9 are at the top of my list for the next bike. Man, oh man, I am waiting. I've got a CF Moto dealership is like right there. And I cannot get a demo ride on a 675 SS with those guys. It's driving me absolutely bananas right now. Oh, Paul is saying, I was surprised how well the 600 kept up with the R9 in that video, to be honest. How well would it do stock to stock, I wonder? Stock to stock, man, that 600 would be, because the hit was made in second, stock for stock, the 600 would run out of that, R9's life. And then for the R9 to be in third, here's the other problem. To get a little bit faster and get the R9 up into third, when the R9's in its sweet spot in third, that is in the very sweet spot for the 600 up there. And if you noticed, we drug the number down to benefit the R9 for that race. Had we gotten that race started about 10 miles an hour faster, the 600 would have been around the R9 before it was done. Pilo's in. What's up? Welcome to the crew, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's going to be kind of fun. It's like I say, the blooper stuff is going to be in there. Some stuff where I'm talking about just more or less just like, the brain droppings. A lot of times the videos that you guys see when there are a lot of cuts made, what's weird is that a lot of times the video that you guys see is the one that I put in the can, which is a way to say that I got through the video and I was like, all right, that one's good. I got it. If I can screw up for the next 5 videos takes really, and then I can maybe make this work, make that work. A lot of times those videos that don't make it not because they're good, but because maybe I missed something, or maybe the one that I put out there, I find out it wasn't the right video. There's a lot of goofy stuff that comes along with this, especially when you're a one-man band trying to put all this together. Oh, Miki, yeah, thanks. That's another thing. Saying love the videos in the memberships. Awesome, you don't hold back in it. The membership videos for a standalone video and stuff like this, typically on the live show, it's like PG-13, right? For the members, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more like pub atmosphere, if you will. And it's just me talking, and there's no in some of those videos, it's just going to be me talking, just like me and you are hanging out. It's a little bit different vibe also on the membership side. But thank you. I'm glad you like those. Skid saying, don't forget to hit the like. Make sure I'm checking back up with you guys real quick. Oh, I just screwed up. What did I do? Mickey 750 rehomed. Yeah. And that's, in a way, that's kind of how it ends up working out. Nick saying Mickey inline 4 for another inline 4. I was saying is rehomed is less painful financially. Tell me about it. It does take me a while to recoup from those. I will admit. I was saying, if this chat was a motorcycle club, what would it be called? Ooh, I don't know. What would it be called? Dude, Smut Peddlers. FTW, man, Forever Two Wheels. If you don't know what that is, it's a punk band. Freaking rocks. So yeah, it'd be FTW, Forever Two Wheels. I was saying R1 ain't going to pay for itself. No, R1, here's the funny thing. The R1 doesn't have to. It's the ride-along videos, the ride and review videos that typically are the ones that kind of keep the show afloat. And live shows. Live shows are the thing that I enjoy the most doing. That and, well, the ride-alongs too. I like doing all of it. But I like the interaction. I like getting the chance to hang out with you guys a lot. I will say this, the R1 may do a little bit better than you think, but you're right. I don't know. This thing's probably not going to pay for itself. But we'll see. You never know. And again, Skids, welcome. Welcome to the crew. Oh, Paulo's saying I was going to use the throttle link, but then I hesitated, thinking, would that give me an issue if I were to install the Helibar's raised clip-ons? They are a bit taller and wider than stock. It could, but I don't know by how much. That one is a real bear to install too. But I don't know if installing a Helibar kit, do you have to adjust that at the throttle body? I don't know. I don't know if you do or not. Some of those you do. So what he's asking about, the some bikes with cable actuated either throttle blades or cable actuated speed controllers, like the Gixxer 1000, the throttle cable itself, obviously it's a finite length, but you can adjust it with the adjuster by a certain amount. If you put Helibars on some bikes, you have to adjust the length of the cable. But I know that like Hayabusas don't require a different cable, and I don't think the Gixxer 1000 does. I don't know. Yeah, but thank you, new crew members. That's awesome. Skid saying, of course. Mickey's asking, are you going to use the stock switches on the clip-ons? Yeah, I think so. I know. Yeah, I think what you're talking about is those extra things that you can get for it. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get that for this bike. And the only reason why is, man, this system is not as good as the R9. The R9 is like a Gen 2 or a Gen 3 TFT electronic suite. This is Gen 1. So it's the best of the Gen 1, but it is very Gen 1. It's very dated. Paulo saying, I had a feeling you'd need funds for a full system in 2 weeks. I was saying that, Mickey, yeah. You know, that's the thing. The good thing is that you don't have to get a full system for these bikes. That's the good thing about it. It's already got a titanium head pipe that's really good. And I mean, you literally, you get your computer out, you ship it off, you get your mid pipe, and you pop it on the bike. And there's some cool stuff about this bike. So the butterfly actuator is right here. Like it's literally my fingers on it. Super easy to get to. Everything on this bike, so far as I've seen so far, is really easy to work on. So, matter of fact, I've got one part I need to make sure I don't lose. It's this little stay for this guy. But yeah, it's kind of funny. You got to, once you start pulling this thing apart, basically the whole thing just kind of comes apart. It's real easy to work on. Oh, Mickey, on oh yeah, well it might have a better setup, but this one, I don't know, this one's not too bad. I haven't thought about it, to be honest, but I'm going to look into it. Frenchie's checking in. Hey, Paisano, I had this demo in New York City on, oh, by the way, Motorrad drove the 1000 XR 2026 and M1000R. Nice. Yeah, the BMW stuff is real nice. It's real nice, but man, are you paying for it? But holy cow, have you seen? BMWs are crazy, the quality of work that they put into those things. Nikki's checking in saying bushings. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I was saying, got it. Yeah. Your mom is saying, interested in the Rumblebee Hellcat. Man, not really. Not really, because to me, that truck is a little too little, a lot too late. Beeson saying, holy moly, an R1. I have completely stock R9 right now, planning on following your footsteps with the R9 mods. I came from GSXR 750. Love the vids. Excellent. Love the R9. Man, listen, you'll never hear me, and I mean ever, say anything derogatory about the R9. Matter of fact, you're going to hear in a ride-along video. Check this out. This is kind of a funny thing. The R1, and I'm not kidding when I say this, feels identical to the R9 in our favorite S-curve, right? The R1 in fourth gear feels identical to the R9 in third gear. In fact, the R9, I shouldn't say identical. The R9 is stronger on corner exit than the R1 is in that little section when I hit this thing in fourth gear. Now, when I hit this thing in third gear, like I did the R9, and even in fourth gear, the R9 is still really good. It's very aggressive. Maybe even a little bit more aggressive in this thing. It is what it is. You can hear it in the videos. That R9 hits hard with those mods. But horsepower is what it is. And if it's not on the video that you guys are going to see, but I did get slide control to activate on the R1. And it's funny because it just goes, it's real soft. You can feel it pull power just a little bit, and then it immediately starts throwing power back at it. And I hit it in third gear. And I mean, I pinned this thing coming out of that corner. And I don't know if y'all can see this. Hang on. Y'all can see it, the tire. I've still got a lot of feathering up here. Hang on. You can see it up here. Where, I mean, I had that tire lit up coming out of that corner. So, yeah, we're breaking in the RS11s the right way. Was that coming up on camera? Could y'all see that? Anyway, that's with me just in third gear, and it started to kick out, and I'm just pinning it, holding it. And I was kind of hoping it would do what the R9 would do, and the R9 would just kind of fan the back end of the bike out a little bit. This one won't. It wouldn't. If I turn that off in the tune, it'll allow me to play a little bit. But I was like, no, I'm breaking in some tires. I don't want to fool with it. But you will love the R9. Do the DNA, do the M4. Make sure you get exhaust gaskets. Put the 190/55 on the back of that R9 and get out there and have a blast with it. You're going to love that bike and that setup. But thank you. I'm happy to have you, man. Miki's checking out. What year is the R1? It is a 26. She is a 2026. Got her in the crate, no less. Zombie's asking, have you seen the Z900 retro mod to make it look like a ZX7R? What do you think about it? I haven't seen that, but there was a company that was making the retro kit. It was a retrofit kit for a full fairing kit for that bike, and it looked really good. I tell you what, you know what I ought to do? I'm kind of screwing up over here. Hang on. Let's do this. Time out. That's a good point. Let's get this thing in shot. See what's going on with this contraption. Plus, the lighting's better over here anyway. There we go. Does that work? Let's get that light out of here. These things make awesome shop lights. I've got a halo light. Tell you what, you guys at the have your like garage shops, get one of these. Get you one of these halo, these weird influencer halo lights. It has come in clutch. That's a way better idea. Why didn't I think of that? It has come in clutch as hell. Whenever I'm working on something, by the way, the battery on this thing lasts forever. I'll literally will be looking at whatever I'm looking at or working on through the light, and it's just awesome. This thing is great. So I got this at like Best Buy years and years ago. And Sun Pack mini box. We're gonna hang it. I got you hanging on the back of the 750 now. But yeah, it's a 26. And the 26 is what, if you've got an R9 or an R1, they're real easy to tell apart because the 26 has the big blocky either R9 or R1 badging on the side. I don't know, you can't really tell yet, but the headers are starting to turn colors. And they're going to turn a real pretty like bluish color. And then when the M4 titanium mid-pipe comes in, I want to say that this goes away. And I know that goes away. And it's just going to be titanium underneath here going into the factory silencer, which is just, it's wide open. There's nothing to it. Let's see. Oh, Matt's checking in. What year is it? It is a 26. I got to see her while she was still in the crate. It's pretty cool stuff. Matt's saying it, my heart. How am I going to tell Toothless? I know. Matt's saying I still can't believe it. Well, I tell you what. Gone but not forgotten. And I'm more than happy to keep talking about it. I mean, I'm happy to walk anybody through whatever they need for an R9. And if the formula that I found with that bike is do everything to it. Travis is in asking, do you recommend taking my Gixxer 750 to my dealer for the break-in service, even though I can change my oil myself? The dealer won't allow me to bring my OEM oil and filter that I have. I do all of my own maintenance work. Normally, it's rare for me to not do my own work. So I would say, yeah, go ahead and do it yourself. And just document it. Keep the receipts, get you a folder and have everything in there, document the mileage, and you'll be good. Make sure that when you do your oil change, you always check your chain, always check your brake lines, always check your brake fluid, check your coolant levels while you're at it. Remember, those are open systems, so they can evaporate coolant out over time. Make sure you've got your distilled water for that. I'm pointing at it like you can see it. That's hysterical. But yeah, do that. And yeah, if you can do your own work and you're comfortable with it, I always like doing my own. Frenchie saying, I'm frustrated with Ducati for not fixing the heat on the new models. The technology is one of the best, but so much heat when you drive on the street. Man, I got to tell you, that's true, and they are notorious for that. Bruce is in. Man, thank you very much. Welcome to the crew, my friend. Thank you very much. That's awesome. And again, like I say, it really is a way for me to, connect with you guys in a little bit different way, but it also will allow me a spot to stick some of the goofy stuff that ends up happening around here. Plus, a lot of times there's just like the background stuff. There was stuff I used to do back in the day. Y'all may or may not remember this. So I go, well, everything is content. And it's the everything is content type stuff, just the background things, what's going on, around here, just with what I'm doing. That's what you'll see on there. So are we saying Submoto? What's up, man? Got some members tonight. I love it. Joshua saying, what's the new bike just arrived? Yamaha R1. In many pieces right now. Funny thing is I haven't even had this thing on the paddock stand. I need to get it on the paddock stand and kind of give it a real good look around and once over. Josh is saying, nice. So he's saying something about the R1 just makes it look like a monster. You know what's funny? The R1 to me is just a really good powerful enough, but not crazy powerful, very playful bike. It really is. It's one of those bikes, man. I'm not kidding when I say this. It's a if you get a chance to spend time with a leader bike, you'll find out that they're the most fun bikes to ride in terms of just being playful, provided you're not trying to do a bunch of dumb stuff with them. The issue with leader bike comes on the last, in like the last 15% of the tack. That's when leader bike gets real spicy. But if you ride a leader bike like you ride a middleweight and just take advantage of having the power and the torque, and you don't really tap into that horsepower so much, you'd be surprised with how good a leader bike can be. And the R1's a little bit different animal. The GSXR 1000, the A model, the base model, it's pretty harsh when you get them from the factory. The R model is set up for somebody that weighs at most 170 pounds. The R1, it feels like it's made for somebody around 180 pounds, 190, maybe 200 pounds. It's actually really good. And that's kind of the big takeaway, is that leader bikes are typically more stiffly sprung, though, and they can be a bit jarring. At least the Gixxer was. This one is really nice on the road. It's not jarring. It's extremely well dampened, and obviously it's not been tuned or piped. I don't know how it's going to do as far as high speed stability goes, but I've never heard of anybody complain about an R1 in that respect. Plus, it's got an electronic steering dampener just like the GSXR 1000, and it's got these freaking hand-sized wings over here. I don't know if that does anything or just looks cool. Paulo's saying, so I've heard new tires are slick and oily and you should ride like a grandma, but I've also heard that new tires used to be oily back in the day, and that's not really the case with modern tires. They're still slick. The tires that were on the R9, those were brand new S22s. And that bike holds the record right now for longest rolling burnout. I lit the tires up right over here. There's an exit to this parking lot. And I literally went from exit, and there's another one over here. I went from exit to exit with the R9 with that rear tire lit up in front of the shop. You've got to cook that stuff out of it. So I typically will say, look, take it easy. Get the tires scuffed in, warm up to it, and then you can start playing with it. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still bad enough to where, I mean, I've had bikes get real squirrely on me. And to this day, they still do. New bikes, I always take it with a grain of salt. Skid's saying, B, it wasn't me that brought it up, but since they did, I'm considering the 5.7 Rumblebee. On Leno's Garage, Tim said he has DC stuff for the base model. Stay tuned. I'm hoping that's the case. Here's the thing. I love the idea of the Rumblebee. I want a set of rims for Pearl. I really do. So, if it means that I can get a cool looking set of rims for my truck, I'm in on that one. Stock rear tire size is a 190/55 on the R1. Oh, Paulo's saying, what do we name the R1? It's either going to be Natalia or Nikita. We will soon find out, but it may, I don't know. We'll see, but it's going to be Natalia or Nikita. Let's see. Love that color blue. Man, I do too. I really do. And you know what's funny is at first I wasn't a big fan of it, and now I prefer the blue over the rest of the colors. Even the anniversary bikes, I prefer the blue over that now. Matt's saying also because Toothless is black, and they didn't do a black for 26, which I'm surprised about, by the way. That's how I know he is at 25. Exactly. That's weird. I don't know why they didn't carry the black over. I really like the black. In person, it looks really good. Oh, French is saying, check the ZX Moto 500 RR price around 6,000, and they have the technology of the Panigale V2s, which is true. Chinese engineering working before Ducati, and the weight is only 380 pounds wet. Here's the deal. That's going to be a great bike. Once ZX Moto hits American shores, they've got a lot of expectations. Now, I will say this. They're not going to be as good as what they show on paper. I can promise you that. But even though they're not going to be that good, they're still going to be really good, right? So I would not discount them. Let's see. Oh, Skid saying, oh, and since eTorque is gone, I know the H6 is faster, but I can't look away every time I see an ad or a pic of it. Hey, listen, throw an exhaust on that thing. Thank goodness eTorque is out of there. I hated that system. And so, yeah, I mean, they're great trucks. They look amazing. Josh is asking, so which bike did you trade? The R9? Yeah, the R9 left, and the GSXR 600 also left. French is saying dealers need to make money. Dealers do need to make money, and we need to see some of those Chinese offerings get to the States sooner than later. Apollo's saying dealer added extended warranty without telling me. Yeah, that would light me up pretty good. Oh, Travis saying, awesome, thanks. I wasn't sure if there was something special they did at the dealership during break-in service. Hell no, they don't do anything special. Believe that. Kind of neat if they did, but no, man, they don't do anything. About the only thing they do, they're supposed to do, I can tell you this, at Stubbs, if you bring a bike in for its first service, everything gets inspected. They're going to inspect head bearing, fluids, brake lines, everything. If they've got it apart already, they're going to at least poke and prod and make sure that there's nothing goofy going on. Because trust me, it's in their best interest to do so in a multitude of different ways. Some dealerships, though, they look at it as another line item, another deal that they've got to do, and they just, get it knocked out and move on. Don't do that at Stubbs. When a bike comes in for service, it gets basically a nose to tail inspection. So that's about the only thing that you're getting above and beyond, but that's a huge service that can be invaluable. The thing is, you got to remember, if something is going to go like really weird, it typically happens within the first 1,000 miles of the bike's life. If the bike makes it through after its first 1,000 miles, then chances are you're going to be in good shape. Really, it's like if it makes it past its first 500 miles, but you get the idea. Bruce is saying, I just want to see a video of you picking your nose or something. So it never fails. I'll get like a nose hair that'll start to invade an eyeball or something. And because I can grow a nose hair. And it's funny because it'll just like out of nowhere, like, all right, I got to like, jacks with my face or whatever. It's like, there you go again, but it does happen. Tiger Uppercut saying, R1 in the stable, dope. Yes. Agreed. They look aggressive. It does look aggressive. Oh, Tiger saying, start it up. You can't. This is the sad thing. I'll fire it up, but you can't hear it. Hang on. This thing is so quiet. It's like annoyingly quiet. Where did I put that thing at? I'm happy to fire it up, though. Where the hell did I put my key? Hang on. Hold up. Let me find my key real quick, guys. Hang on. Here we go. dump go? Where the hell did I put my keys? Well, now I'm tripping out. Where the hell did I put my keys? I'm so bad. Okay, this is something that would have made it to the numbers channel. I'm going around looking for my keys. Shitting me. Let's get it fired up. What do you say? Gas this place out, but yeah, you really can't hear it when the butterfly is shut. It's super quiet. Oh, Josh saying about to purchase a G2 competition quick turn throttle for Suzuki GSX R750. Don't forget when you're doing that install, you can do this with your pocket knife almost, but the G2, you're going to see these two hooks that the cable goes into, kind of pops into and then wraps over. That inside hook, just take a little bit of that sharp edge off to help the cable pop into that thing. It's real tight. Oh, Paul's checking in with Travis on his talking about, well, I just messed something up here. Hang on. What in the hell? There we go. Paul's got a good point. You can take the bike in for your first service if you want and just hang on to your oil and filter for your next oil change and do that yourself. Oh, Josh. Oh, talking about saw the video. Yeah, I understand that completely. Listen, plus in your situation, if it gets you out of the house and gets you into a dealership and lets you have some time to yourself, maybe that'll be a better deal. I'll tell you what, Francie, if you're heading down south and looking at prices down here are higher than up north. No, Tiger, I got this one at, so this one came from Wild West Motorsports in Katy, Texas. Fernando's in. What's up, man? Oh, Mickey's asking, how do you do a rolling burnout? Super easy. Okay, so let me give you some. What you do is pull it out. Basically, I'll just kind of hold a little bit of front brake and whack the throttle and then kind of release the brake with a little bit of weight forward. And you do it in first gear or second gear. And if the tire is a little bit slick, it'll just start spinning. And once it's spinning, you just modulate the spin and your speed with your throttle hand and with your front brake. I used to do those with my RC51 all the time. Like that's one of the things I used to love to do, stoppies and rolling burnouts of that bike because it was so nose heavy. So wheelies were kind of out of the question because it had a really funky balance point. It would come up really fast and it was like very narrow with that balance point, but you can do stoppies for freaking days on an RC51. So anyway, that's what you do. Yeah, you just, get a little bit of brake, brat, and then kind of phase in the clutch. So you phase in the clutch as you're rolling onto the throttle. You'll feel the tire brake loose and then just kind of tilt back on the throttle and modulate your speed or with your front brake. But I didn't have to do that. I was in second. I blipped it in first. It spun. I immediately grabbed a fan. I didn't quick shift. I fanned over into second, rolled into the throttle, and R9's got a ton of tip in torque, even more so than an R1. And it just kept the tire spinning, and I just rolled into the throttle and held it at about 8,000 RPM, and it just all the way down in front over here. And it had, you know, mold release in the tire. So it was real happy to spin. And it finally started grabbing. You could feel it grabbing, and it kind of, you know, wagged a little bit until it rolled out of the throttle. Frankie's asking, do you like installing the new improved system that light just quit? That this guy made for the R9 on the video. He explains moving 145 horsepower and 115. Oh, you're talking about Two Wheel Dyno Works. Yeah, that's who I would refer. If you're doing anything R9, go with Two Wheel. They're really good. V-Cycle Nut's good too, but I like the throttle mapping from Two Wheel Dyno Works a little bit more. Yeah, the Super Glide. So that Super Glide is nice. Skids sent it over to me, and I'm impressed with that bike. I like that one quite a bit. I was saying, happens to us all. True that. Oh, Tiger, yeah, fired it up. Yeah, the sound is like you can't. Frustratingly, you can't hear it, and it's literally the best sounding motorcycle on the planet, and you can't hear it with the stock exhaust. Teardrop's asking, ZX4 or R9 after a Ninja 500 with 5,000 miles experience? I've been studying Yamaha champ school and doing Moto Jitsu drills. Keep doing the Moto Jitsu stuff. Keep getting your schooling in, but make sure that you stay on your practice. The big practice is look where you want to go and trail braking, also known as chauffeur braking. Those are the two main ones. Look where you want to go, chauffeur brake, and pick your line. Those are the three big ones. Well, there's another one, don't roll into the throttle until you see your exit, but that kind of comes with look where you want to go. So anyway, keep doing that. Now, as far as which bike do you want to go with? Ninja 500, it depends on what you like to do. Let me ask you this. What size of a person are you? If you are over, say, 5'8", 5'9", you're gonna want the R9. If you're a smaller built person, the ZX4 would be really good. But either way you go, you're gonna have to have them tuned. The ZX4, I haven't ever had a chance to ride one, and it drives me nuts because I love small displacement bikes. But that thing is a freaking monster with a pipe and a tune and all of that stuff. The R9, though, is its own kind of monster. So for me, I'm going to default to the R9 because it's what I know, and it's got a ton of torque, and that's what I like. Let's see. Oh, Francie, I didn't know the dealer fees were that high. Yeah, screw that. S1K saying, everybody on their R1, R1M era now. Fastflow just got his R1M, and now Professor is rocking the R1. Really? I didn't even know that. Listen, I'll put it to you like this. There's a lot of guys that you'll see start to fall back into maybe bikes like the R1 because they are dimensionally, they feel very small, and they're just really good to spend time with. The soundtrack, you get a lot of different subjective things with the R1 that you just don't get with other bikes. And the thing is the R1 chills me out to ride it in the same way that the R9 did. And that's what I was discovering with this bike today. And I know that I was showing you where I was clearly lighting the tire up on corner exit with the R1, but I was doing the same thing with the R9. I'll put it to you like this. The sound of it, the feel of it, the ergonomics of it, the way that the bike flows, the front end feel of it. There's so many things about the R1 that lend itself to being a really good motorcycle outside of the fact that it makes a bunch of power. The cool thing about the R1 is that the power of an R1 isn't the overall overarching thing, right? Okay, let me give you an example. If I mention, I don't know, Ducati V2 Panigale, the first thing you're going to start rattling, what are you going to say? What's the first thing? 3, 2, 1. How much horsepower it has. Looks great, sounds amazing, but the first thing you're going to lean on is how much power it's got. Gixxer 1000, after you complain that it hasn't been updated, which I'm kind of with you on that, what are you going to say? It's really fast. Power. If I bring up the R1, everybody in the know, even some that aren't, are going to say, I love the way that thing sounds. You never hear anybody talking about it, even though it makes identical power numbers to a Gixxer 1K, whether it's stock or it's modified. The first thing you hear about is sound, and it's one of the few, not the only, but one of the very, very few leader bikes where you can talk about the bike without talking about power, without talking about features, amenities, technologies, or anything else. It is the only leader bike that it stands alone, like way more than arm's distance away from the crowd because of the subjective stuff that it brings to the table, namely the front end feel, which is just like a Gixxer 750 almost, and the sound, which is cool. And that's one of the reasons why I went with the R1 as opposed to another leader bike. Let's see. Okay, Teardrop, you're 5'7", 160, but you're fit and you lift heavy. Go with the R9. You're going to appreciate the torque of the R9. French is saying, I recommend take a vacation in Spain or Italy. They practice very differently to the USA. That is very true. You know, I thought about that, Pilot. So he's saying I should make a trail braking tutorial. You know what? I'm wanting to do some more of the like some of the more instructional videos. And by the way, fun fact, the first ever braking test that I ever did was on an R1. Oh, Josh, I never saw this one. How bad did the 750 pull away from the R9? Okay, so I did take those videos down. There's a reason for that. There's only so long that I can leave videos like that up in the world. But I will tell you this. The 750 that the computer is sitting on right now, literally, from your perspective, walked away from the R9 and turned into a pixel over the horizon. The difference in mile an hour, which I did not talk about, if you notice, I'm not saying anything in that video. The difference in mile an hour between the two bikes was about 20 miles an hour when it was all said and done. It was that bad. It really was that bad. It's not to say that the R9 couldn't do well, though, in a different environment. It's just in that environment, that is its weak suit. And that is the 750 strong suit. Clearly, that has been proven. But on track or in and around town, tight twisties, things like that, the R9 is going to be probably the bike you're going to want, especially if you're not trying to be super duper competitive and you just want a bike that's torquey, grunty, and that you can have a lot of fun with. You're saying, thank you for the response. Thank you. Oh, Paolo's hanging out with Teardrop. Broccoli's checking in with his Grom. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind a Grom. I have a feeling that if you ever saw me with a Grom, I'd probably just be Grom guy. Paul's asking, is that an R1M or base? It is a base. It is a base R1. Teardrop saying sound and power. Yeah, it's R1. That's the thing. I mean, but the first thing you mention is the sound. It's like, oh my God, it's an R1. It really is that good. It's the same thing that you mentioned if you're talking about like a like a Testastrada, excuse me, Testastrada powered Ducati. It's like, oh my God, the sound of it. You know, yeah, they're powerful as hell, but it's the sound that you're just so compelled by. Josh is saying, regarding the G2, assuming the online price is less than I'll get from a dealer, probably. Just give those guys a call direct. Just Google G2, go straight there and put in what you want, and they'll get it to you pretty quickly. They've got everything in stock. Frenchie's talking about some of the newer guys on YouTube. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why you don't see me doing a whole lot of real crazy stuff. I'll play around with a bike. And I tried it. Here's my thing. When I'm bringing you guys along for a ride, all we're doing is exercising a skill set. That's it. You're never going to see me doing things that are outside of my wheelhouse in terms of skill level. I try to keep things way below it, as a matter of fact. And I try to focus on having fun. I'm crazy competitive in a lot of different areas. And when it comes to bikes, I'm also real competitive. I want to be able to compete though. And you can't compete if, you've had an off. And so, I always try to say, look, get out there, have fun, practice. And what you're really doing is you're seeing me play, which is the same thing as you're seeing me practice. That's it. So, Teardrop saying, also want a super sport rider position. Yeah. I was saying I got dusted by R1 and I still hear him ripping at night and when I'm in my bed. I get it. Happens to me with Gixxer 1Ks. Bruce saying the R9 is awesome for people that like to have fun without having to work for the power. I had a blast on that thing. They are a lot of fun in that regard. And here's the thing. That's the beauty of the R9. It's an amazing motorcycle for doing motorcycle things. And you're going to hear me say this in an upcoming video. So, it's like, here's the drinking game. Whenever I say, you're going to see something in an upcoming video. When you watch it, when I say it, you got to drink. I like the R9 a lot. And I still would say that I would go through withdrawals when I didn't get a chance to ride that bike. But I liked it a lot, just didn't love it. And that's the thing. I got to love it for it to stick around. And even bikes that I love, I let go. So, it's something that I just kind of have to do, unfortunately. Gixxer 750. Tiger Uppercut is saying, what upgrades are we looking at for the R1? Glad that you asked. So it'll be tuned. I don't know who's going to do the tuning yet. But here's the cool thing. The R1, you don't have to do a lot to it. In fact, you don't have to do really squat outside of titanium mid pipe because it comes with a titanium header and it unbolts right there. So, and it's really cool. It's a 2-in-1 kit going into the mid pipe. And so it's going to be a titanium mid pipe going into a stock can for now. I may put another can on it, but for now it'll be the stock can. And that's going to sound freaking awesome. And then let's see, we've got the tail tidy's already on. I just need to button that up. We've got mirror block offs, which may or may not be coming. I've got to check with Turn 14 because things got weird with the R9, and I think they got weird with this order too. I ordered it kind of together. Different windscreen if it's ever available by I keep wanting to call it Hot Topic. What the hell is it? This is, okay. So if you guys don't know, ADHD and dyslexic. Yay, pleasure to meet you. So my brain will literally transpose words, transpose faces, transpose things like that. And it's weird because in my head, I know what I'm talking about, but I just can't say the word. Anyway, welcome to my world. but it's a anyway, windscreen, and then what else are we talking about? That's really it. That's really all it needs. And the good thing is that outside of just staying on top of maintenance or anything else like that, it may or may not get a filter. It probably won't. Mainly because every test that I've seen with a filter on an R1 yielded squat for gains. Paulo said it needs a slip-on. It'll probably what I might do is I might just end up with a couple of different slip-ons. That is a wide open can. Like the whole thing is open, and I think it's a steel insert wrapped in titanium. But I mean, I might get an SC Projects slip-on. There's no telling what's going to end up on this thing. And that's going to kind of be it. That's the beauty with the R9 is that you just don't have to do a whole lot to them. I was saying R9 went home to cry about losing so hard it decided to get rehomed. Yeah, I think it may have rehomed itself. But no, that's kind of the plan right now for the R1. Again, it's really nice because they just don't really need a whole lot. And it's not the Puig. The R1 that I rode originally had a Puig windscreen on it. I don't know. Anyway, Tiger Slam, yeah. Paulo said it looks so good though with the new angle. Yeah, I can see the blue. Yeah, the color, it looks good. I mean, it really does. And the funny thing is with the wings on it, I can't really imagine it without it. At first I didn't really like them, but now I do. So. Teardrop's asking, did you see the new 2027 R9 color? Yes, that denim blue and like a orangey red, but I haven't seen it in person. Skids is saying your riding reviews are great. You said you got another bike coming from Stubbs. It looks like I do. I kind of laid claim to it already, but it is a used bike that came in as a trade-in. And it hasn't made it to the website, and it probably won't. In fact, I know it won't. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work to it, but and it's funny. It's a bike that I never thought I would ever throw a leg over and ride. Had no idea that it had even landed at the dealership. I went by there today to drop off the 600 and saw it and went, what the? Hunter told me about it, and I for whatever reason, it just kind of went in one ear and out the other. I thought, well, it didn't go in one ear and out the other. I thought it was another bike. And as it turns out, it was not another bike, and it was the bike that kind of got my attention. Let me see something here. It's because my brain works on multiple choice. But hang on a second. Hang on a second. Zero gravity. Why is in my head it's Hot Topic? I don't know why. Maybe because it's dark and brooding. I don't know. Or no, Hot Topic. Anyway, the problem is Zero Gravity doesn't have any in stock. And I don't know, there's an SR, which is a stock replacement, and then you have the Corsa, which is a little bit higher. And I think this one is going to get the Corsa, and all the Corsa does is it brings it out about this far, like a knuckle, and it brings it up a little bit. And that's mainly so I can see the gauges a little bit better. But yeah, Pilot, it really does need it. The slip-on, here's the thing. I can't really show you because I don't have the light. I wish a slip-on would give this thing more noise. It won't. Oh, Tiger saying OEM filter is fine. Absolutely it is. Yeah, so Mickey, here's the funny thing. The way that my brain works, it's really weird. It's like what happens when you have a crazy high processing rate but very low RAM. And so that's basically how the shit works up in here. And if I can't immediately, like if it, for whatever reason, it's always been like this too. Like and my strength and conditioning coach when I was in college had the same thing. And he knew nobody's names. John Lott, you would see him for doing Combine. He was the guy that was the guy at Combine. And anyway, so, you know, fun fact, I was Popeye for kind of a funny reason. Okay, so why did he call me Popeye? Everybody had their own nickname. And it was a nickname that you didn't really want, usually. Popeye, the reason why he nicknamed me Popeye is because I got into a fist fight with a gentleman by the name of Ben Freaky in practice one day. Ben Freaky was our center and was about, God rest him, what a fun dude, man. Anyway, about six, I don't know, looked like it's about 6'3", 6'4", and about 275, 280. Anyway, I had an ass whooping coming to me, and he was going to be the one that gave it to me because I was kind of being a bit of a cocky prick. And so we get into this tussle, and I start out doing really well. And then we're both in our helmets, and we kind of push in, and I pieced him up pretty good real quick. And then you see, and I turn, and I'm like, what's up? And I'm turning like this, and I turn like this. And all I see, if you ever played American football, is this lineman's glove. And it's about right here when I recognize that I am fucked. And he hits me right in the helmet, spins my helmet around to where my nose is sticking out of my, in fact, I had a cut right here under my nose, like a little scar forever, where my nose, it was bleeding. And so my head, it looks like my head is pointed this way, but it's not. It's just my helmet that got ripped around my head. And the funniest thing about this is that he takes another, you can see it because in the next day in film, he goes, oh, watch Popeye get his ass whipped. Oh, watch, here it comes. Watch Ben. This is when he hits him. And I'm sitting there and I'm having to take this, right? And I deserve it. And I'm laughing about it. It was funny as shit. And Ben's laughing about it. I'm laughing about it. And it was a funny moment after the fact. It was really funny after the fact because all you saw is me trying to figure out what happened. Everything is dark. I can't see. My nose is sticking out of my ear hole and it looks like I'm pointed over here. It looked like he had torn my head off. So anyway, Popeye. Why Popeye? Because a little guy trying to fight a big guy. And Freaky was easy to remember, but that was Bluto, and I guess, and I was Popeye. So that's where that nickname came from when I was playing football. I got my ass whipped. Let's see. Oh, Frenchie's saying, oh, did the Knicks win? Sweet. Oh, Mickey saying blacked out, double bubble, maybe the hot topic one. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. It'll take me, it can take me a week to actually recenter and re-remember it, but I will call it hot topic and it's in my head. It's a hot topic windscreen. Don't you know? Don't you have one? Of course you do. Mystery Bike is the new Goldwing. Don't threaten me with a good time. Dude, That Goldwing DCT, that is a freaking minivan on 2 wheels. I actually kind of like that one. What year is the mystery bike? So we can guess. 2014. 2014. Miki saying, I'm dyslexic myself. Will never remember a name unless I read it. Here's the funny thing. You get me involved in a multiple choice question if I've only heard it once. If I have only understood the problem and can answer it, I can, done. I will literally smoke that test. Cognitive capacity tests, like you have to take for employment for certain management, engineering levels, things like that. Mensa style tests, I will, in many cases, do really well on that with those types of tests. But God help me if for whatever reason I can't remember, and then my brain just creates a category and a name for it so that it can process it. And that's it. So yeah, it's a real thing, guys. It's funny. You know, people used to like, oh, he's just not paying attention. He's not this or he's not that. It's like, dude, I'm paying attention. It's a gobbledygook, right? I mean, duh. It's like, that's not what it's called. I was like, well, that's what my brain called it. So guess what? That's what it's called. Words are just made up anyway. You're calling it something. I'm calling it something else. I would say I'm pretty sure I got something too, but I'm not getting diagnosed. Yeah, I've never taken anything for it. It is what it is. It's a spice of life, man. Do you mean the Ghost Rider? Dude, that was a hell of a freaking deal, wasn't it? Aren't you saying, yeah, 2014 Kawasaki Vaquero. That is not what it is. It's a 2014 Hayabusa. No, it isn't. Oh, Frenchie's talking about Ghost Rider. Yeah. 2014 Kawasaki? Nope. Ninja 1100? Nope. It'll be really tough to guess this one right. I mean, you've never even heard me mention this bike, not even once. I mean, never. And then I rode it today and I'm like, oh my God, I love this thing. I'll put it to you like this. It's oddly fast. I don't really know how to explain it without really getting too deep into it. Honda, no. Ducati 899 Panigale, no. Although that would be pretty cool. That would actually be really cool, but no, I have not had one of those show up ever. Michael saying, I preferred the R9. Every man and their dog has an R1. There's unlimited content on it. Yeah. Put it to you like this. The R9 was cool, but the R9 had some flaws that were going to start to really affect it in terms of being interesting, right? And the problem with the R9 is that it was such an oddly polarizing bike that it was never really going to be able to evolve past what it had already accomplished. But I'm glad that I had the opportunity with it. And, you know, I got to say, it's, for me, it's also a lot more fun to do ride review videos. And not just try to focus so much on one particular bike like the R9. I can focus on the R1 in that I'll be able to do other types of ride-along videos with the R1. So that's something that I'm kind of working on right now, but I've got to get this thing sorted out first. And I got to get it broken in. By the way, worst brakes out of the freaking crate of any motorcycle I have ever ridden in my life. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, I was going, is this thing ever going to stop? Okay. you guys have heard me talk about break-in procedure with bikes before, and I'm not really a break-in guy. Although with this one, weirdly, it is kind of getting broken in softer than some of the other bikes, only because it's a leader bike. You need to just not really leaning on it as hard. Beside the point, if you notice, there's a little bit of brake material on that front rotor. These brakes are just now starting to act right. I had to go through, and I'm not kidding when I tell you guys this, and I was going to video this, and I guess I should have, but I did about 10 minutes worth of 30 mile an hour, light brake, 30 mile an hour, light brake. Did that 5 or 6 times, maybe 7. And then rolled it up to 60 miles an hour, light brake, or firmer brake. 60 miles an hour, firmer brake. Did that about 3 or 4 times. Then got it up to about 80 miles an hour, hard brake. 80 miles an hour, hard brake. 80 miles an hour, hard brake. Did that about 3 or 4 times, and then let them cool off. And it finally started to brake. But man, that first run through at 30, I was going, oh shit. These things broken? What's up? But anyway, yeah, I had to spend some time with it. Oh no, Frenchie, I did not see the Isle of Man BMW. Nick's saying this, the secret bike is definitely a Kawasaki. That's a good way to ask if we can eliminate Kawasaki. You can eliminate Kawasaki. Is it just breaking on brakes, or they suck in general? No, the brakes are really good. They're style limits. They're the ones that they come right off of the R9. So the brakes themselves are really good. The feel is really good. The initial bite is good. It's just the break-in procedure of them. I was just going, dude, are these brake pads made out of freaking Legos or something? What's the deal? So anyway, yeah, that's the whole what behind the why with trying to get this thing sorted out. Hossein could have done another rolling burnout. Yeah, I'm telling you, those S22s were kind of slick. I was surprised they were that slick. Oh, Skid saying, okay, I've never heard you mention this one. It's an intriguing bike, KTM 1190 RC8R. If I ever saw one of those, I would have to pick it up. I'd have to figure out a way to do it. KTM 1290? No. Nick's going, it's a KTM. It's not a KTM. Here's the funny thing. Not only have I never mentioned this bike, I have not even thought about this bike in any recent memory. But it's a bike that is one of the most beloved bikes of its brand. That's almost giving it up. That's almost telling you what it is. Anyway, oh man, I put it to you like this. I damn near loaded it on the trailer today. It was that good. But it's crazy. It's a bike that I never would have thought of. I never would have wanted. It's really not my cup of tea, but in a way it really is. I don't know. Aren't you saying, do you have any issues with the warranty or maintenance with the dealer? Because normally the dealer does not like the owner to do the job. So the dealer makes money from the maintenance and has extra fees. No, I don't. Mainly because the dealerships that I work with, I know the techs, and they know the level of work and the type of work that I do when I do work on these things. So Pilo's saying XSR 700. I'll tell you what, no, but almost. I really liked that bike. Yeah. BMW GS 1200. No, not a GS 1200. Wouldn't mind a GS 1200. Also, the Tiger 1200. You know what's funny? The Tiger 1200, really good bike, but it's one of the bikes that convinced me that I never want to have a bike that has a key fob, ever. Like ever want to have a bike that has a key fob. BMW 1600. That's saying it's a Grom. I'll tell you what, if I could sneak a Grom, here's the problem. I know that I would turn into Grom guy. I just have this whole shop filled with, like, I got my stunt Grom, I got my drag race Grom, I got my, my go-kart track Grom. I'm telling you, yeah, I'm not kidding. I mean, I can see that, and I understand the kind of crack that is, and I would be that kind of crackhead. I mean, I would have off-road Grom, I would have scrambler Grom. Dude, it would be like Alice lands in Wonderland, or whatever it is. Dorothy lands in Oz. Alice in Wonderland. That's some cracked out stuff. But like if Dorothy lands in Oz, and it's got all the little fidgets running around, that's what it would look like. But it'd be Groms, right? So you'd have all of that shit going on down here. BMW 1600 is a hell of a bike, man. I'm not getting one, but damn, I was freaked out by how quick that bike was. That inline six sounds freaking amazing. Tenere 600, no. Go Fast is in. Cheers. Matt's saying, honestly, he is describing Grom guy, and it sounds freaking awesome. Dude, I'm telling you, have you not seen Grom guy? Grom guy is the shit, man. Oh, we got to go into the office, guys. This thing is just about to croak. Hang on. Hang on. I thought I charged this thing. Hang on. Let's get into the office before this thing decides to check out on us. I got all kinds of stuff in here. By the way, R1s are self-disassembling machines. Here's that tail tidy, or the factory tail. Hang on, hold on. Technical difficulties. This place is a mess right now too. All right, let me get you all on the pedestal real quick, guys. Hold, please. Thank you very much. There we go. All right, we're back in the office. We're back on the charger. Let's see, what do we got? Yeah, man, have you not seen some of the Groms? They're amazing. 675 is asking, you got an R1. What are your likes and dislikes about it? I tell you what, let's start out with the dislikes. I don't like the fact that that bike has a Gen 1 TFT suite. It's 2026, Yamaha. Yamaha's taken a page out of the Suzuki playbook with this. Namely, I'm looking at the GSXR 1000 here. Suzuki has a multitude of motorcycles that have incredibly nice TFT screens. Why the Gixxer 1000 doesn't have that is beyond me, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't get a 27. I'm on record as saying that, so I'll reiterate it. Here's something though. The R1 has a first generation TFT screen. It works well. It's very clear. I like it, but it doesn't have a freaking gas gauge. It just has a flashing gas light. And you guys all know how well I am with gas lights, like two peas in a pod. So anyway, yeah, there's that. But that's really the only thing that right now I'm not a huge fan of. The rear suspension is a little bit suspect right now, only because I want to see what it acts like at really high speeds. I want to make sure that it's not going to act any way stupid. I'm a little bit gun shy with my experience with GSXR 1000R models, but the R1 has got KYB suspension, and so far it's proven itself to be really, really good. What do I like about it? The size of it, it's small. It feels like a middleweight. It's got great turn in. It's got the best front end feel of any of the leader bikes that I've ridden. The ergonomics are good. The engine itself, taking the sound away from it, because it's a cross plane, and it's counterbalanced, it's very smooth. But here's the thing, not only is it very smooth, but you can have smooth and still a little bit buzzy, but because it's a cross plane, you don't get any rider fatigue with that bike. Nothing like you would with a regular flat plane 4-cylinder, where that secondary imbalance just absolutely will drive you nuts after a while. You just don't get that with the R1. Miki saying, I have my brother ride my Grom today. He's hooked. I bet. He's saying, why not be Grom guy? Grom guy is the shit, man. Listen, gromming is a beer related activity, man. So yeah, I'm all right with that. And it is called gromming. It is anyway. Frankie's asking, do you believe maybe Yamaha rebuilt the new R6 using the I'm trying to understand what you're saying here. Guys, well, for the last 5 years. So here's the thing. The R6, if you're talking about why the what's or whatever with the R6, let me tell you the issue with the R6. It works out like this. The R6 just simply cost too much money to sell for what a middleweight costs in the open market. The price of a middleweight is $12,500. At most $14,500. I don't even know if you can get it that high. In fact, you can't. It's really more like $13,500 is the highest you can go. Here's the deal. The R6, you had to, for that bike to cover a profit margin that makes sense for manufacturing, 14.5, maybe even 15. There's so much in an R6. It's the best 600 ever. And that's the reason why. I mean, it really does have all of those components. I say it's the best. Arguably, it's the best. I prefer the Gixxer, but a lot of folks prefer that R6, and it's got a lot of parts that would make you want to prefer it too. Let's see. Plug it in. Lives drain batteries quickly. Yes, they do. Especially, we've been on for almost 2 hours. That's awesome. Josh is asking, does it make sense to put a bigger tire in a 750? If so, would it need a speedo healer? Good question. Happy to answer, because the 750 is rocking a 190/55. It is an amazing upgrade for the GSXR 750 to rock that 190/55. You can also go 180/60 for a number of reasons. Namely, it keeps you from using the entire tire. You're always going to have a chicken strip on that bike that's about maybe a thumb width at the most. And this is with me riding it, not necessarily on track, but at a real quick street pace. And I mean, what's funny is that I put the 190/55 on the R9 too, and it helped with turn in as well. It helps it hold the line better. Actually, no, you don't necessarily need a speedo healer, but the GSXR middleweights are 8% off. And if you put a 190/55 on there, it makes the speedo a little bit more palatable at about 4%, give or take. But that one does have a speedo healer on it. And I want to say it's like it's corrected to 5%. Go Fast, the best bike is the one you own. That's right. Isle of Man, yep. Modern Muscle, no. Hey, Modern Muscle Garage is in. What's up, man? Long time no chat. No, not necessarily leaving it only to bikes. We've talked about the Ram muscle trucks a little bit, but I haven't really focused on that. I am looking at possibly doing just a standalone Mopar chat again to talk about those trucks. Big fan of the 392. Like the idea of the 5.7 because it doesn't have e-torque. The Hellcat one, I want to get excited about it. But the thing is that those trucks, for me, it feels like a little too late. But I'm glad that Ram is going down that path. If for no other reason, I want those rims for Pearl. But I'm glad that they're doing it. It's a great looking truck. Nixon saying bikes. Oh, Bo saying, comment on this on your 1000 R9 review, but thought I'd ask here, did you flash with two-wheel Dynaworks instead of E-Cycle nut? Yes. As you initially did. I did. I went with two videos. Thank you. I went with two-wheel Dynaworks for two reasons. Actually, there's a third, but I don't really want to get too deep into that because it doesn't have anything to do with the tune itself. The first reason why I went with two-wheel Dynaworks is because I was planning on going with cams for the R9, and they have already worked with they've already worked with the newer version, the 2026 grind of the Dan Crowder camshafts. And that's the main reason why. And because I was just going to, once those cams went in, send that in, or if I ended up deciding that I wanted to do like maybe ported cylinder heads, smaller, thinner head gasket, that might have been in the mix too. And they've already got all that work done, and V-Cycle Nut hasn't, or at least has a limited amount of experience with that. He's good with the V1 cams, but two-wheel Dynaworks, I went that way. The other reason why is I liked the two-wheel Dynaworks throttle mapping a little bit better. But those are the reasons why. They're both good. I just liked the two-wheel Dynaworks a little bit better. The V-Cycle Nut Mode 1 throttle map is pretty spicy. It's a lot of fun. Frank saying I reference to the Isle of Man using the R6 and R1. Yeah, it's good. They're both good bikes. But hopefully that answers the question. I like the two-wheel Dynaworks tune a little bit better. 675 is saying, especially with gas prices. God, gas prices are stupid right now. 675 is I'm sticking to the bikes. What do you think of the ZX Moto 820RR? Damn. I tell you what, they're, kicking up a lot of dust in World Supersport. I'll say this. I know that they're having some issues with manufacturing of the bike, just, the retail bike. But ZX Moto is really fast at getting those products back out to the consumer after a fix or just giving them a whole new bike. So I think it's a great bike. I think it's going to end up being a great bike. There's some things that I'm a little bit concerned with, only because I've never ridden one, namely the quick shifter. I've heard some grumblings about the ZX Moto 820 having issues with it, but I think the 500 has it, and they haven't had any issues with that bike, and they've sold over 10,000 of those units. The 820 intrigues me. I don't know that I believe in my heart of hearts that it's really going to put down the kind of power that they're talking about. But it's putting down some kind of healthy number. And I know that that bike is restricted. Oh, okay. Roll with this, use it in a conversation, but I don't know that it's 100% accurate. But I want to say that it's restricted to 82% of its total power capacity for World Super Sport. Modern Muscle, thank you. Say, glad I got a chance to catch a live tonight for the Gatorade Fund. Yes, the old school Gatorade Fund. Thank you. Yeah, we are rocking tonight. It is the Crystal Light. Didn't get the Gatorade, so we're going with Plan B on this with the bottled water, which reminds me I've got to get provisions for the shop. But awesome seeing you, man. Thank you so much. Hope things are going well for you. Thank you for the support. I do appreciate it, brother. Oh, wait, I can do the heart thing. Oh, damn. Can I do that for new members too? I don't know if I can. Hold on. I found a side quest. Hold, please. Hang on. Tries my wife. No, I can't do it. Side quest. Here we go. Okay. All right. Yeah. So the ZX Moto. Yeah, if we could only get one in the States, I would love to be able to get one to review. I really would. I have a feeling I'd really like that bike. Oh, Skid saying, I think they're late too, talking about Ram, but you have to admit they were hamstrung by Kami CEO for a while. Yes, they were. A lot of firms were. And Ram and Stellantis, Dodge, really, Dodge and Ram were, and even Jeep for that matter, the brands that matter, God, they lost 10 years worth of brand loyalty from guys. It's really sad. Franchi's, yeah. Max Wrist, yeah. The issues with the V4, yeah. I've heard of some issues there with that bike. I tell you what, let's talk about. I know, God, I mean, we're going to tip into. We're already over 2 hours, but I do want to say this. You know, we're talking about power and horsepower, and you know, we saw what the R9 did with the Gixxer 600, but we also saw what the 750 did to the R9. Not really a fair comparison, but it's a fair comparison because they're in the same class. They race in the same class. They're just not in the same class. But you know, the V4, tons of power, 265 horsepower, right? Who knows? A lot of bikes show a lot of power, but they cannot ever put that power to the ground until like 5th or 6th gear even, without having all kinds of nannies and front wheel lift control and everything else. They're practically unrideable. They're like an F-16, right? You can't fly it without the computer. You can't ride some of these bikes without the computer. And that's the one thing about the R1 and really the Gixxer 1000 and the CBR 1000 RR that makes them nice is that you can ride them as motorcycles and not have to worry about so much nanny intervention. I think you get past a certain amount of power and it's just, you'll end up losing because a race, especially a roll race, V2s or V4s, you see what Mungus does to them with the Gixxer. It's like check out. And then by the time you catch, you're never going to catch, you might catch it, that Gixxer with the V4, but you just run out of, I've already made it to the speed that we're going to get to. I got to shut the bike off. You know, if you're going to get here, you should have got here a while back. That's the crazy thing about those bikes. Frank's saying Chinese from us cooking the global market. Be careful, Japanese brands that are below KTM moving to India. Yeah, are moving. That's the thing. They're good. They're really good. $670 saying, I think the ZX Moto will be sniping a lot of folks, but that whole funding, you think that plan was sabotage? Might have been. Pilo's asking, what's the perfect horsepower and torque for the street? It's a very good question. I'm going to say it depends. It depends on what kind of bike we're talking about. Sport bike, perfect amount. At the flywheel, 150, 160, somewhere in there. You can stretch that and say 150 or 160 at the rear tire too. You can kind of have that range. Okay, and then you can say, okay, what about a naked? I would say 130 to 150 is really the sweet spot. That's not to say though that there's not a perfect bike for a scenario, right? So if I was going to be in a more urban environment, I'm really not going to be out on BNC roads. I'm not going for like long distances. I would say a bike like the MT-09 at 117 horsepower is really good as an upright bike, or the R9 is amazing at doing that. So the CP3 is a blast in that environment. The environment of I'm not doing long distance, high speed things. I'm doing first through fourth gear things. In that respect, 120 is really, really good. And then, but that's kind of the range, honestly, I feel like. Really 120 to 180, either at the rear tire or actually either at the rear tire or at the flywheel, doesn't matter. And then for city dweller bikes, 80 to 100. For city type bikes, I don't want to have too much power. I can't use it. For a city bike, I need to be able to whack the throttle and just go, right? Like an R7, like a GSX-8R. I don't need the power because I can't use it. I literally can't use it because when I need it, I can't get to it. But whereas, a GSX-8R in an urban environment or an MT-07 is going to be really good because it's brap and it just takes off and goes. Oh, Bruce is asking, why does the XSR 900 feel so much better than the MT-09? It's got a longer swing arm. Makes it a little bit more stable and makes it a little bit more comfortable. Go Fast saying the more power you get a chance to add, hopefully the more simplistic you can make the machine. Would help for a more likely well-maintained long or short-term result. French is saying electric bike, but surprise on 120 horsepower is so fast. It is. They've got an electric bike running. What is it? Hooligans or whatever it is? I forget what it is, but he's out there doing some work. CF Moto 675 is a great bike. Go Fast. That's more for engineers involved in the creation of parts. Yeah, got to fill a demand. French is talking about the 675, not including the quick shifter and the blip. Yeah, man, I tell you what, when CF Moto, and my understanding is, this is what I was told, I don't know how true it is, in a couple of years is going to be fielding some pretty serious artillery. So we'll see. But with saying all of that, guys, I got to check out. We have gone into this about 2 hours. I got to go finish up what I'm working on over in the shop. But man, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out, man. I had a fun show tonight. Went over 2 hours. That's awesome. It's like the old days in a way. But I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out. And thank you so much to all the new crew members. Thank you, Modern Muscle, for the contribution. I truly appreciate it. But let me shout out to my crew, man. Miki, Pylos, and Bruce. Skids is now new. Swabby's in. Liking it, man. Thank y'all so much. Paulo and Skids, making sure I'm seeing everybody here that is new tonight. Guys, thank y'all so much. Can't wait to get you guys some more just stuff on the member page. And keep your eyes peeled. Going to be doing quite a bit with this in the short term. Looking to keep this one long term, and soon to bring the other bike. Like I say, it's going to be a minute before I can bring it on. Got to start ordering parts for it is what I got to do. Anyway, guys, with that, I got to wrap it up. Listen, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Love each and every one of y'all. Would not do this without you. Listen, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way going to get out of here, and I will see if I can find myself a zero gravity windscreen. Okay, I just found it again. All right, you guys take it easy.